My mom always calls my dad Beersy. Old friends call him Beers, and old possessions of his say Beers on them. His email was beersy@gmail.com. I never quite knew why. Where did Beers come from? Was it nothing more than a clever nickname? These were questions I always asked myself, and when asking others, I never got a clear answer. They said it had to do with some crazy family thing that involved my grandpa. He didn't know who his father was, or maybe his father wasn't there. I never quite did get a clear explanation. It was all so confusing. Once I learned I had to do a documentary, I immediately thought of Beers and knew I could do it on that. Do you remember anything about Beers?
Just barely. The last time I saw him, I was walking with my cousin on the military post where my cousin lived because his dad was a major in the Army. And we were walking along the road and he happened to come by and said hello, and that was the last time I saw him before he died. He was electrocuted. So he was really never like a father. I never really lived with him, as a father and son kind of situation.
Yeah. So what happened so that Beers became known as your father? Right? Not really, but just sort of took care of you. What happened there?
Well, my mother, of course, married him, and I was led to believe that he was my natural father, which it turns out he wasn't. And primarily, the relationship between he and my mother never really worked out. He was kind of an abusive individual, so she just wouldn't put up with it. So, basically, I was brought up by her as a single parent.
When did you first suspect that Beers wasn't your father?
Well, early 1978, I got a call from my uncle Leon, which happened to be the husband of my mother's sister Nellie, and he said, "Well, I got something to tell you," and I promised her mother I never would tell you this, but your real father was not Elmer Beers, but the Alfaro, Vicente Alfaro. So.
Huh. How did you react to that?
Well, I really wasn't, in a way, surprised because my mother was very secretive about what happened in her early life. And you got to remember the times. In those days, you really didn't speak about, problems with children that weren't legitimate and all that. So.
Okay.
Anyway, so I then checked, tried to get a hold of the Alfaro family in Panama, and I was successful finding out that he was still alive. So I decided to go to Panama to visit and see if I could have an opportunity to talk to him. So.
Oh, okay. What did you talk about?
Well, unfortunately, when I finally met him, he was very ill. He had had a couple of heart attacks, but he acknowledged me and acknowledged that he had wondered what had happened to me because my mother had never kept in contact with him. So, basically, it was pretty short because his wife was concerned of his health because he, could have an additional heart attack at any time, which he did. Passed away less than a year after I met him. So.
Do you think he was at all like Beers? Like similar to Beers?
Oh no, I mean completely you know, of course he was, you know, he wasn't an American. He wasn't ex-military. He was, you know, a civilian. Uh, Probably completely different disposition. Uh, Not quite as abusive type of person. So,
And when and why did you choose to change your name?
well, like I say, primarily because Beers was never really my father, you know. So I just wanted to acknowledge who I was, and I figured the best way of doing that was through the name change. And I talked to your grandmother uh, and Rick and the rest of the family, and told them that what I was thinking about, and they seemed to be acceptable to our changing our name, because you know they all had to agree, or else I wouldn't have done it. So,
Yeah. What year was that?
1970, 1979,
So my dad was in high school.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, when did you change your name?
We changed our name as a family when we were 19. I think Dad presented it to us and asked if that's what we wanted to do. I was okay with it because I didn't really have a connection to beers other than a picture in the family album. We don't know any Beerses, so and I got teased a lot for that name, so I was more than happy to change to something different. The interesting part was, I think the most difficult part about it was learning to handwrite a new name, because you get so used to signing a name, and then having to change that was a little bit of a change.
And did you ever meet Alfaro?
I did not meet my grandfather, but I did meet my aunts Lolita and Maria when they visited in Davis.
Cool. Thank you. Do you remember changing your name?
Oh, yes.
Yes. How did you react to that?
Oh, it was fine with me, especially when I found out how Dick's family came about and how he decided to go down to Panama and meet his father, and they had no objections to him changing his name to Alfaro, so I thought that was fine.
And did you ever meet Alfaro?
No, I never did.
Vincente Alfaro?
No. I met Dick's half-sisters and Lolita and one of the twins, Mercedes, and but that's as many as the Alfaros as I met.